So this is Brickroot, and it's Friday night, and I am going to design a Micropolis module tonight. Micropolis is a Lego building standard for building small architecture. Um, if you follow the standard, everybody can bring their pieces together and build a whole city. They don't need to have ever met necessarily or coordinate other than to follow the building standard. So let's get a new file started. There we go. So this week I'm going to do something that will be a full city block. So I'm going to get 4 16 by 16 plates. There we go. Here's our 4 plates. So in Micropolis, 16 by 16 is the basic module. It represents a quarter of a city block and pretty much the smallest unit that you can build in Micropolis. But the cool thing is, once again, as long as you follow the patterns of the standard, you can build kind of as big as you want. So here, I'm going to go ahead and put tiles on to represent the roads that go around the block. Let's do it this way. As usual, I'm building mostly in light gray, or light bluish gray, as most people would call it. And then I will recolor the elements to the color I actually want them. The advantage of doing this is that I don't have to spend a lot of time changing the color in my palette tool. I could just grab parts from light gray, which is one of the colors that has pretty much all the parts that I could ever want. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to white. I'm going to mark out where the crosswalks go. These are one of the most important things about setting up the streets, is making sure that you put the crosswalks in the right spot. That way, when somebody else lays their city block next to mine, the crosswalks line up and it looks like it's supposed to work that way. For roads, we use black. Okay, there we go. Here is my city block with streets running around. Now the thing is, of course, that, if somebody else makes a city, when they put this next to other city blocks, you wind up with roads that are 4 studs wide, which is perfect. Kind of a little wide, but it looks good. It's a good proportion. All right. So what I'm going to do is a kind of a rural block, in that it won't. It's not really going to have any structures on it. I'm going to have a rocky hill with a dirt road that kind of spirals up it to the summit, and at the summit there'll be like a couple of communication towers. So like a crazy tall antenna, and then maybe some like um, microwave dish arrays. So to make all that happen, I'm going to use sounds like there's kids playing out in the alley again tonight. Often a lot of noise out my windows, but it's kind of nice having them open for the fresh air. Okay, so in the rock category, I can grab, let's see, grab that guy. Okay. That is going to be the basis of my rocky hillside. And then what I'll do is kind of spiral a slope down through here, which I'll make out with brick. So I think I'm going to get myself some switch to brick here. Actually, yeah. I'm going to kind of rough out the shape with tuck these under there to kind of give it some structure. Just gotta build up some layers here. I don't want to build up the height too fast. One of the things I had to do is make sure I'm hiding the voids. I mean, what I'm going to do is this is all going to get plated over with dark tan to represent soil, and then I'll expose some of this gray, dark gray brick to look like rocky soil or something. Okay. It still needs to come up like 3 layers. Maybe a switch back to here. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay. So, I mean, there is probably some more elegant ways to do this than just stacking up a bunch of bricks, but that is kind of what I'm doing here. Just stacking up a bunch of bricks. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, the road will come over here and kind of tuck around, and then a steep little last little bit up here to get to the top. Yeah, something like that. What do I need to do here? I need to stack in a few more. I want like a 6x6 plate to be the top, and then I'll stack some stuff up to support it. So. Like that. Yeah. And I want some plate. About 4 by 4x6 this way, and a 4x6 this way. Toss this 2x4 right there, and then top it off with a 6x6. A little overbuilt, but nice and solid. Now what I can do is just put some stacks of go. Yeah. What's going on there? I need another. No, hold on. It's fiddly. Sculpting the brick like this. It's not one of those things I'm terribly good at. So it's going to be real sloppy, hopefully, right up until the end. And the end, it'll all of a sudden come together. And I'll look at it and go, damn, that worked out great. And it'll look sloppy all the way to the end. And I will wish that I'd done something different. Okay, so I need to put a plate in there. Shim in that gap. And I kind of need to clean up this little bit through here. Yeah? Okay, so let's finish up the brickwork first. There, there, there. And then I'll put a there, that. Yeah, okay. Let's see, I can put another. Yes, coming together. Fill in the last couple gaps. And the next thing I'll need to do is start to contour this, because where I've got my basic sculpting done, these are big jumps, right? Like each of these steps in the Micropolis scale represents about 9 feet. So I need to break that down into plates and kind of give it some slope. I mean, I could also use, and I might use, a mix of slopes in there as well. And that'll help give it some extra angles, which I think will look good. Okay, so what am I looking for? Oh, there's a brick I didn't finish. I need a 1x3 in this little slot right there. Yeah. Okay, now I need plates so that I can fix this gap, and there's some gaps over here that need to be fixed. So put a 2x6 right here. And then I need a 1x4 in this little slot here. I'm going to look around and see if there's any other. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to slopes, and we're just going to pepper in some slopes. Start with some 1x2s. Not a lot of them, but a few. So we're also going to help me disguise the burps, the big ugly rock pieces that I've used to develop my shape here. these are the cheap one. Those are $3. And these are 25 cents. So these are the less expensive. Now I'm going to put in a few of these to no, that looks terrible. Black eye. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to do some contouring with plate. Just to try to get, because I can see already that this isn't going to work. These need to come out of here and get replaced with plate, because otherwise that slope is too steep. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the plate here. Okay. 1x8. Go there. Let's see. And I need to put something there, right? Because there's a... No, actually that's... Okay, well either way, I'm going to put a little something more in there. Go put this guy here. Put that guy there. Okay. Now here. This way we're just getting plate steps one at a time. Helps the contouring a little bit. Let's see here. This area is a little funky. Go. There you go. There's some nice, there'll be some longer steps. There, build up a little bit of shaping there. Okay, so this is going to come over here, and then over here I'm going to start to bring it down a little bit again. Starting to look better. That needs a little bit more work, and I'll work on it in a second here, but I really want to jump over this section. Brick. This is a plate. That. And I want maybe one more 1x3 like that. There we go. Now we've got a nice shallow slope through most of this area. Let's see, I'm going to delete those two. I need is a 1x4 brick to go in there, but I'll deal with that in a second. Yeah, I'll put that guy there. So, pull this guy in. Go there, and then brick, 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 brick. 1x4 to go right there. Oops, wrong spot. Boom, it goes in there. So now I've got a nice slope, comes back over here, and around, and up to a summit. I think the next step is to put down like a layer of soil. But I think for reference, I really want to look at some of the other models I've built in this city, because I'm realizing I don't quite remember how I did the rock work on those, and I'd like this to match. If it's too different, then I feel like it doesn't. I like that consistency. I like the consistency of using fairly similar techniques with models that are going to be kind of part of the same layout. So let me fire up a browser window real quick here. Out of sight for now. Go to my Flickr account. Get my albums. Can't remember if this has any pictures of my hills. That album doesn't. Neither does my Micropolis folder. You know, where I probably have photos is on Instagram. So let me look back through my Instagram. Here, let's pull that over. We might as well look at it together. Okay, so let's go backwards. Got a lot of stuff. What I'm looking for is my the last big show I went to. Moved twice since then. Oof. Ah, here it is. So no. I mean, there's a work in progress photo, but I thought I had a nice stack of photos I took. Okay, not on my Instagram. That's useful. I suspect, however, they're on my phone. I don't remember where I posted them to. I know I posted pictures of that layout. They aren't the world's greatest photos, but I know I took some. Oh, in fact, I even have high quality photos of what I want to look at on my phone. Okay, cool. just mostly needed to look and see what kind of colors I used. It looks like I used pretty much exclusively dark gray. But for the soil, I used a mix of brown and dark tan. And then I put some foliage in, like some ground cover with 1x2 sand green plate. And then I put trees. So that's going to work out pretty well. I can work with that. So now what I'm going to do to kind of break up the ground a little bit more is I'm going to use cheese slopes. My friend, the cheese slope. I'm going to put some of these in here. Like this. Turn that one up. Yep. Okay, and these are going to break up these slopes quite a bit. And I remember that sometimes rocks go in weird directions, so it works for me if sometimes they're a little I think I want to put a little notch here. I want to fill it in a little bit like that. Yeah, that looks good. Put some inside the... Yeah, I think there's some inside the hill now. Oh well. Oh yeah, like there's one right there. Let's delete that guy out of there. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Now I think I want to tile in the dirt road that goes to the top. And I'm going to use tile for that so it looks like it's, beat down and flattened. So, don't move things out of there. Okay, so there's my hill. Might add some more to it, but for now I think that's good. I'm going to switch to dark tan because I want to make sure that the tiles I'm using are available in dark tan. It being one of those colors that has strange gaps, common elements that just aren't available in that color. Okay, but we got some pretty good size pieces here. So I think what I'm going to do is that's coming along nicely. Let's do that. Right. Another one here. For example, there's no 2x2 corner tile, which is a little funky, but I can work with that. There we go. It kind of feels like a switchback. Now we're going to do a steep climb. Yeah. Okay, so there is my roughed in dirt road that leads to the top. So, you know, you turn off this road and head up this. Now, around the base, I'm going to put trees and other stuff. So let's go back to plates. Just going to start roughing in some plates. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave little one by one voids like this where trees will go. It's my experience that trees always, like these little microscale trees, always fall off the models when I transport them. And then I forget where I put them. And it's so frustrating because I'd gotten the model all dialed in. It's exactly how I like it. And then parts fall off and I never quite figure out how to get it just right again. So by leaving those little voids, then I know how to fill it back in. And see now this is going, all this soil is going to work like this, following the contour, but maybe not completely, like leaving plenty of this dark gray exposed. Like that, yeah. But still the impression of soil that is, actually, let's pull that out of there. Let's do, as I plate it, I also kind of want to use this as an opportunity to lock all the pieces together. So I want to run my plates over these seams. Yeah, there we go. Another one there. Right. And I'm going to work around this. Actually, I'm going to work around this area over here because it's going to be less fuss. So I've got tree spots there. Now, normally on a Micropolis block, you'd have a sidewalk around the edges. But one of the things is that in areas like this where maybe the roads are passing through non-urban areas, the sidewalks disappear. You know, all of a sudden, all you got is at you best, you've got a shoulder um, between you and the wilds. So sometimes when I'm building industrial neighborhoods or things like this that are supposed to be more wild, I just don't put the sidewalks in at all. And I feel like it captures the variability of these areas better. Okay, so now here I'm going to go ahead and put that guy there. Tuck a 1x1 up into the corner there, like so. I want a 2x4 here. Some soil and some of these exposed bits here. Add a few extra cheese slopes for my rocky bits. Go. Let's see, I want to put this corner plate up here and it kind of locks all those elements together nicely. Also, I want to make sure that I've covered up all of these hollow studs. The hollow studs just read really differently than solid studs to me. And so I want to make sure that they're all going to get covered up. I've got a bunch more landscaping I'm going to do at the top here, so I'm going to kind of work my way up. Getting this soil in first, I feel like, is pretty important. That there. Go. So what do I got going on here? I got a 1x4 there, 2x4 here. Yeah. Just a 1x1 there. Yeah, that's coming along nicely. Yeah, just like that. Like that back there. As always, I wind up using just a ridiculous number of 2x3s. Oh, stuck a piece to the bottom. Let's get rid of that. I don't know what it is about doing these kind of organic shapes, but I wind up using a lot of elements with odd dimensions. Let's see, that. That guy there. That one. So, yeah. Again, as I build up my hill here, I want to make sure that as I'm placing these kind of irregular plates, I'm putting them in across seams. You don't want those seams to go all the way through and then the model's unstable. You want to lock everything together by staggering seams wherever you can. Let's try here, lock it that way. Real test is going to come later when I work on trying to put trees on this thing. Unfortunately, one of my favorite tree designs for this type of space doesn't seem to want to work in a studio. Like, I can't get the elements to fit together the way that I know the physical elements fit together. And it is really frustrating. It's possible that I just, I'm missing some trick that would make it just work for me. But okay, this is coming through. Let's see, let's go here. There. Okay. Go. That's looking good. Tuck a few into these little corners here. Yeah, I'm like how this is working. This isolated kind of rocky high point. It'll go out on the edge of my layout when I'm doing a layout by myself. I've got some big like 2 block areas of woodland. One's like another rocky hill with a tunnel through it, and then I've got one that's more like a park space. So I think that'll work. This will complement those pretty nicely. Okay, so let's do this. Let's put another corner there, and then a 1x2 here. 1x3 here. Use a 1x4 to kind of lock all that together. That's 1x1s to go in those spots. Got a couple nice little spots for trees right there. Let's see here. You know, I've been using a 1x12. So I'm just going to drop that right across there. Just kind of tie all those elements together nicely. Those other elements I wind up using lots of is, oh, where did that piece go? There. Somehow I stuck a piece in the other piece. Let's see, let's do that. Another piece I wind up using a lot of when I'm trying to get these organic shapes are these 2x2 corners. I don't know what it is. There's a piece I use too much of, probably. But man, they're useful. Okay. Now up here, I think I want a little bit of a compound where I will have, yeah, a little bit of a compound. So I'm going to work on that for a minute so that then I can build around it. So I want back to light bluish gray. Then I go to panels. Yeah, like this. Here. Okay. Corners of my little compound. I will put one here. Okay, and this represents like a concrete pad with a little concrete wall around it. Not really the way that this would be done necessarily in real life, but I think it works pretty well for what I'm trying to do. And then I'll make myself that. I've got some 1x tile in there, so I'll use this to kind of widen that out a little bit. And then what I'm going to put in here is actually a jumper, because I'm going to use 2x2 jumper. That way I can stick a car up there, or a little van, as if somebody has somebody's up there maybe doing some work. A white commercial van, exactly the kind of vehicle you'd expect to see out at a job site. I mean, you'd expect more pickups, but pickups are really hard to render in Micropolis. I still haven't figured out a way of representing pickups that I'm happy with. Someday the perfect part will appear, and all of a sudden we'll be able to have cool little pickups in our Micropolis cities. Okay, so here I need this. Stick that there, and I'm going to change it to dark tan. As if there's a little wider area there where somebody might park. Okay, so now let's put a few more bits of go here like that. Actually, that one's going to come out. I need to stick at least one tree up here on my summit. It'll be pretty weird if there aren't any trees up here at all. But not too close to the wall. Oops. Once again, gotta cover it. I want to cover up all the hollow studs that I have laying around here, that I have up here. I don't want any of those exposed. Okay. That is looking pretty good. So now I guess I will do what's going to go here in the center. And I think that I want one of these supports to represent my kind of like antenna tower. It's not quite what it would look like. I mean, they'd use a different kind of truss shape, but I think that this one really conveys what we're shooting for. I can do it in like red is maybe too much. Maybe I'll do it in white. Like, I don't really want it to be the same color as the wall. And obviously I don't want it to be dark gray because that's the color I'm using for my rock. So I have to kind of think in terms of like what's going to work visually to tell my story. Okay. Let's go grab some tile. I thought I would have like two little structures in here, maybe like some microwave dishes, but I think I'm just going to actually attach those straight to, here we go. So there's my little concrete compound. There's this. In perfect world, I'd put some kind of gate here, but I don't have a really good way to show it other than to put a piece of wall, and I want it to be visually distinct from the wall. So then I'm going to put how does this look in light gray? You know, it doesn't look bad. Put white up here, and then what I'm going to do is some round plate. I'm going to put a stack of round plate and kind of like in some kind of alternating colors for like some kind of like high visibility marking. Put round, so we'll do that. Make this light gray too because I'm hating it in a different color. I make all of these yellow and these red. Okay. It's nice and visible. You know, I mean, obviously this isn't how this kind of structure is built in real life, but my goal is not so much to replicate a real world structure as to build something representative that when somebody looks at it, they go, oh, yeah, look at the antenna on top of the hill. You know, that's what I'm shooting for. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna need, now I want to add a couple microwave dishes. For that I want tile modified because that's where my clips are. They are. Let's stick one right there for now. Come back to it. Or actually zoom in to use it. Okay. Let's see. What do I got? Okay. Is that not what I clip on there? Is that not the right shape? These might not be the right shape to take a... No, it's okay. I'll put a couple on there. And then I will rotate them a little bit. Like that. And then I'll grab a dish and put a couple dishes on there. Like so. I'll get rid of that. Okay. There is my antenna and, you know, communications set up that's sitting up on top of the hill. Well, my hill's way too nude. I need to put some trees on it. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to design a tree. We'll start with a telescope because I think that makes... I love these things for tree trunks. Get them in dark brown. Not terribly expensive. Every once in a while you can find them in big lots of them at cheap prices. In reddish brown, and it just, I think it just changed my life. So now bright green, I want stems. So plant, oh, they must be green. Now the problem is there's these great, whoa, something flashed red up there. I don't know what. Dashboard's being weird. Oh, maybe it's because my last viewer left. Alright, well, whatever. Goodbye. Plant. Okay, this guy here. It's designed with a hole in it so you can nest them. But for whatever reason, the studio doesn't want to let me do it. It just doesn't want to let me put that piece in the other piece, which is just driving me nuts. Wait a minute, did it do it? It did do it. Okay, so now, oh, too much. Okay, so now what I need to do is maybe turn off the snap. No. That didn't do it. Do I connect this to this? This this. No, I didn't do the trick. I thought there was a way to move things absolutely so that I could just like move them in tiny little increments. I could tuck that in there. Because if I can stack 3 or 4 of them, then that's perfect. That's the top of a tree. Oh, there we go. Boom. Okay. Now I gotta get... Okay, what's going on here? Let's get that out of there. Let's put the snap back on because obviously I kind of need that. There it goes. And then... Oh, nice. How many is that? That's 4? Cool. So now I take that whole thing, I flip it upside down, and I put it on top of there. There we go. There is my tree. Good to go. I'm going to go ahead and create that into a submodel. Tall tree. Okay. Now over here for this one, I'm going to use these guys. Like so. And, but I'm going to recolor them bright green. We'll call this one short tree. That way I've got at least 2 different tree types. You know, good, any kind of forest is going to have, oops, where'd that guy go? Why is it over there? It needs to be right there. Obviously, these aren't really close enough together for a true wooded area, but I still feel like it's kind of coming together nicely. That doesn't work. Those 2 run into each other. So I think I'll put that one there. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn some of these different directions. In real life, they'd all be, I'd have created them all fairly differently, different heights. Yeah, I need more. All right, I'm just gonna start peppering some more in here. Like this. Oh, that clips. Let's pull it to that stud. All right, now I gotta give these some more twists to keep them from being too regular. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna add a few more of my short tree here and there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to copy this element and I'm going to change it to sand green. And I'm just going to start to put these here and there. To represent undergrowth. Again, by locking them across seams. I kind of hold everything together. You know, basically doing double duty here because I'm not only adding a little bit more texture to everything, but I can kind of go through and lock some stuff down. Break up some of the regularity. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Now I need my van to go up top. That's super easy. 1, 2, 3, like that. Color the whole thing white. We're going to create it into a submodel van. And we're going to take that, we're going to set it up here on this little open stud. Now I'm going to give it a tweak. There we go. There's a little commercial van parked up top. Probably doing work. Or hardly working. Never know. Okay. I like this. I mean, probably the trees should be denser, but I'm pretty happy with them. And they look better in person than they do in these renders. Or at least in this. I mean, they might look better when I actually render it. Right now, they just don't look that great. But my experience is they look better when I build them in person. Okay, so let's put a bottom on this bad boy and be done with it. Okay, so now what I need to do, I'm going to change back to my green. Okay, or light gray. Excuse me. Now I want to need some Technic bricks so I can create the connection points that we use to connect the blocks. Now, of course, though this is part of the standard, so many people don't actually use these, which is fine. I don't think it's very necessary. I use it sometimes in displays to kind of hold things together, but super not necessary. You got a good flat table, like you just don't even need them. Okay, and then we'll put bricks around the rest of the base. Like so. Again, we're managing to break up the seams. Being careful to put bricks across the seams instead of continuing the seams. That way everything winds up nice and solid when the model is complete. Alright, now I need some 2x6s to go to finish out the border. There. Oops. Okay. Oh, what else I need is some in the middle here. Okay. Now I'm going to go to plate because there needs to be one last layer of plate and then I'm done with the base. For that, I'm going to put start in the middle, like so. Yep. Then I am going to need longer plates here. There. Try to bake this border with a few long plates as opposed to using lots of short ones. I feel like it makes the whole model, it helps to have a nice strong base on the model. And when I use lots of individual pieces, they're just not as sturdy. But when it really comes down to it, it doesn't matter what you use. As long as it winds up the right height. Okay, there we go. And these should be brown, these should be brown. I use brown like this to denote rural or unzoned areas in my city. Not a part of the standard, but something I do. And there we go. Now I have a little rocky hill with some type of communications tower and a little access road. Nice, unusual addition to my city. I look forward to building it someday. So that's been me building for an hour and a half. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Brick Root on pretty much all social media, so you want to see how this turns out, find it on Instagram, but I'll also post it on Twitter. I'll have an article on my blog, and then I will probably have it on my Flickr as well. Though my Flickr is under my actual name, um, Christian Benito, Benito, from the old days, from before I was super into Lego. So yeah, you want to watch this kind of content. This is what I'm doing on Friday nights for the foreseeable future. Give me a follow. You got anything you want to say? Leave it in the comments. Love to hear some feedback. It's lonely talking to myself for an hour and a half. Anyway, have a nice night and keep building and enjoy.